Hello, everybody. Welcome to Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. I'm your host, BMR, along with my lovely co-host, Krista. If this is your first time here, please subscribe. Give a thumbs up, comment, and hit that alert bell. I understand the alert bells aren't going off. You got to go check that and turn them on. You can find us on YouTube at Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, Texas Front Porch. Don't forget to subscribe to the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast with Krista and Brandy. We're on KPNL Radio. Thank you to the lovely Selene out in Oregon for that. If you like our content, you want to support the show, the Super Chat is open. The Super Chat is open, and long after the show ends, there's something called the Super Thanks. You can utilize that if you care to donate. Again, subscribe. Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, Texas Front Porch, the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast, all found on YouTube. Also, check out our About pages on our channels. It keeps you up to date with all our videos and all the information and events that we do have going on. Appreciate you all for joining us. Don't forget, Mondays, Texas Front Porch is at 7:30 in the East. Tuesday, Van Buren Variety, 8 o'clock in the East. Beyond BMR, that's me, 9 in the East on Tuesdays. Jason McLean does something called Mysterious Library and Untold Radio AM, 10 o'clock in the East. Wednesdays, Jason McLean Questions Everything. That comes on at 9 in the East. Thursdays, right back here with Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, 1 in the East. Tonight, again, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast starts at 9 in the East. And Fridays is the Blondes and the Booze and the Woo. Go check that out again at 9 in the East. Little boo mixed in with the woos. Little woo with the booze, I should say. Saturday, Tex dropped a new show with Danielle Diva. It's on Saturdays at 3 in the East. It's a true crime series, Infamous Minds. Go check out Tex. And don't forget our lovely Jessica Jones on Space Sail Radio on Saturday and Sunday, 10 o'clock in East, over there with good old buddy of mine, Dave Scott. Everything can be found, streamed, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, Texas Front Porch. Check us out. Give us a thumbs up. Turn on the alert bells. And I'm going to bring up the lovely Krista. And hello, Krista. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
You know, I'm fantastic. Barry Brown's not having such a good day. Our guest today is Barry Brown, everybody. And
yeah,
good old Barry having problems getting on. So I'm not so sure how long that's going to take.
Yeah.
So he's got the link. He's using his phone. So unfortunately, as of right now, we're waiting on Mr. Barry Brown. Barry Brown, a researcher from Oklahoma and Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to have him.
Yeah.
Bigfoot researcher, Dogman researcher. He has experienced both.
Wow.
So I'm really looking forward to it if he can ever.
Well, I hope he can get on with this wonderful world of internet, you know.
If he can get his connection together.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's hope. Let's pray he does, because I was looking forward to this. You know, I'm all about talking Bigfoot and Dogman.
You know, I don't know. I'm going to do this one more time for Barry. If everybody bear with us, I got to reset this link to Barry. And it's just such a thing here. I don't know. Hang on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes phones just don't cooperate. That's why when my internet was down, I had to do the shows from my phone. Oh, that was awful.
Yeah.
He said it won't let him on for 24 to 48 hours. He just commented in chat. I don't know if you just saw that or not.
Well, I just sent him the link again, so I understand what that is.
I don't know.
Well, I tell you what. Hang on one second. So, Krista, I saw the show yesterday, and you went through some tornado activity, eh?
We did. Actually, it got bad here, more so around Brandy's area. I think the tornado missed her, and not far from her, 5 people were killed. And unfortunately, it hit like 3:30 in the morning when people were sleeping. So that's awful. you know. So yeah, it was an awful deal.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but we're
Barry,
good.
if you're out there, if you're listening, I resent the link. It says everything's good on my end.
Yeah.
So I just don't know what to do right now, Barry. So I'm looking forward to it. But Barry, try to just tough through it. Give it some time. Hopefully, we get you back on or get
Hmm.
you on.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I'm going to. I gotta do something to try to help out Barry right quick here. Live radio, live YouTube. There's always something going on.
Always. Always.
We got a plethora of people already in chat looking forward for this one.
Yeah.
Hi to let's see. You can chime in too whenever you like. I've got hello to Daryl, North Alabama Cryptids, John, Daryl, Amy, hi Amy, Sharon, Sugar Britches, Midwest Night Watchers, Gary
Yeah.
Spike Senior, Blondes and Booze. That must be you.
Must be. Lori Barnes is out there.
Hi, Lori. How are you? Crystal McGee, JoJo. My stalker. I have a stalker. Her name's JoJo. She lives in the UK, but we joke about being a stalker. She's really cool. Thanks, JoJo, for joining us.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there, almost too many.
Scott,
You read them all.
My buddy from Michigan, Scott, Freaky Geek.
William
Lil,
Nighthawk.
yes. Hi, William. The lovely Lily
Mhm.
Pond, one of the best mods out there. Thanks for your work, hard work
Yep.
behind the scenes. Miss
Jose.
lovely Ann Selene. Now, going, I said it earlier, Ann Selene, we stream live from the beautiful Ann Selene out in Oregon, KPNL Radio. Go check her out. Thank you, Ann. Good to see you in today.
I don't
Lori
know.
Barnes, of course, Marquetta Jones, Marquetta from Michigan as well.
Mhm. Raven Creek Farms. Charms. I'm sorry. Raven Creek Charms.
Yes. Raven Creek, hello. Wow, a lot of William Nighthawk, Glenn Dennison,
Hmm.
the great Jose Maguina. I'm sorry, I probably botched your last name, Danny Staten. Shout out to Monster Radio, Ryan Tremblay. Go check out Monster Radio. Fantastic podcast. Does a great job
Yeah.
with his
I'm
girlfriend
actually
over
been
there.
talking about, Brandy and I were talking last night about coming with some upcoming guests, and actually he's on my list. So Ryan, if you're listening, I will be reaching out to you for a blonde show.
Yes, reaching out. It's always great to be on the Blonde Show. They do you and you guys do a great job over there.
Thank you. You do too.
So yeah, I do my best. A little frustrating when technical difficulties arise.
Yep.
So hi Gemini. So what I think I might do, we're gonna go over. I'm gonna talk about a time loss event that happened to me not too long ago. Well, actually, a couple of years ago, and then after that, everybody listening, maybe depending on Barry. Again, I know we all want to hear Barry's got fantastic stories. I might just have to drop a link in the chat because last week it was you and I solo did a great show, and maybe we'll bring up a guest from our chat if they're so inclined. But I got
Yeah.
to tell you, we talk about one of the things that you talk about all these things. I had a time lost incident that happened to me. Let's just get into that really quick. See what happens with Barry,
Yeah.
and maybe you can help break this down because Brandy loves this story. I told this to Brandy,
Hmm.
and this happened to me. It was probably about 5 years ago. It
Hmm.
was me, and my friend Mike and Mickey. We were on Mickey's 32-foot boat. So we decided to take a trip to Put-in Bay, Ohio, which is a small island. It's
Hmm.
about 3 hours from where we launched the vessel.
Right.
Okay. So we left on a Friday and we motored out to Put-in Bay. And I got to tell you, Put-in Bay is much like spring break.
Hmm.
Remember back in the day, 18 through 21, when we all went down to Florida, spring
Right.
break.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this island is the same thing. It's all summer long. It's all spring break, all summer long. Great time was had. We all had to be to work on Monday. So it was Sunday. We decided to leave. It's Sunday. The sun is about getting ready to set.
Mm-hmm.
So we take the boat and we head home. So during our travel on the boat, we're cruising. The sun drops. It's pitch black out. There's not this. You could not see any stars.
Right.
The moon was covered, so it was pitch black. And in this vessel, we could not even see in front of us at all. It was just
Mm-hmm.
stone cold, pitch black. So we're like, fine. We pretty good navigators. We had a lot of navigational maps. We had a Lowrance Pathfinder, which is like a radar, which shows you where to go.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that we had to come up to it's called the Michigan Light. It's out in the middle of the river. Putin Bay is in Lake Eerie.
Mm-hmm.
So, which Lake Erie, then you hit the Detroit River. Now, once we hit the Detroit River, we have to start looking for the Michigan Light.
Mm-hmm.
Then we see this blinking again on the river. Oh, there's the Michigan Light. So when we hit the Michigan Light, we now know we're about an hour away from our destination. So we proceed southwest when we see the Michigan Light. Again, once you hit the Michigan Light, 1 hour to get
Mm-hmm.
home is it. So
Right.
we were traveling about 2 hours from Putin Bay to the light.
Mm-hmm.
Again, pitch black, can't see anything. Man, we're driving. We're driving this boat. And we find it unusual that we can't find we seem like we're driving, right? Driving the boat, and we didn't
Mm-hmm.
see anything. Now I say it's pitch black. So we took a spotlight and we're looking along the shorelines and nothing looked familiar. So, okay, we're like, this is strange. This is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So we noticed our fuel. Now, look, I got to tell you this. Our fuel, we filled up the boat.
Mm-hmm.
So if you fuel up this boat, you should be good for 6 hours, something like that.
Gotcha.
I can't recall how long.
Right.
So, but now here's the crazy thing. All of a sudden, the sun is now starting to rise. Now, you got to remember, we left Putin Bay, right when the sun was still out. So, ample time to get home.
Wow.
But now the sun is starting to rise, Krista. And we are now, get this, on a full tank of gas, which should take you 8-10 hours of gas easy. We are now running on empty. The gas is now run out.
Wow.
And now we find ourselves between two sheaths. Like, I don't want to call them mountain ranges because there's no
Mm-hmm.
mountains in Michigan. There's no mountains on the river, but they're about 90
Right.
foot cliffs on either side of us, made of like stone. But it
Right.
was a very slippery, like a sandy looking stone. And we're in between this, and we're like, we've never seen this ever. We're running out of gas, and now we look on the depth gauge on the boat. Now you got to remember the hull of the boat, probably it cuts a V,
Right.
and it goes probably 6 feet deep in beneath the surface of the water. And now we are approaching 3 foot of water, which means if we hit this, we are bottoming out on either side of us, both sides of these tremendous ledges or cliffs. We're kind of now in panic mode, and we can't figure out why the sun is rising.
Mm-hmm. I would have been freaking out.
Well, we were freaking out. We finally get to this bend. We finally get to this bend. We lift up the boaters on the back of the boat, and we're just kind of hopefully not bottoming
Mm-hmm.
out. We make the turn on this bend. We end up in the Maumee River, which is 6 hours away from where we're supposed to go.
Wow.
So, in other words, We lost 6 hours of time.
Yeah.
This is a 3.5 hour trip. We left when sun was still up, maybe 8, 9 in the evening. It was 6:30 in the morning when we got to Maumee River. 6:30 in the
Wow.
morning.
What do you remember about that trip? I mean, do you?
Well, here's the thing. We were awake. None
Hmm.
of us went to sleep. It was three abreast at the top of the at the bridge of the boat. We were out the
Yeah.
bridge, so there's a nice, cool um, chair set up where you could have three abreast with
Yeah.
the steering wheel in the center. So it was Mickey driving in the middle. I was on the left. Mike was on the right, and we weren't drinking at this time. We had enough over the weekend drinking, and we wanted to be sober because
Right.
once it started getting dark, I mean, I admit we had a couple beers on the boat, but we weren't hammered. We
Sure.
were physically up, going home. We all would be at work. We figured if we get home by hell, we left maybe 8 o'clock. We figured be home no later than midnight. No later than midnight. Here it is 6:30 in the morning, and we're now still about 2.5 hours away from home.
Wow.
So
That's
we lost 6 hours of time
yeah.
during this.
Yeah. That's crazy. Did you see William Nighthawk's comment about that?
I'm not reading chat right now. It's
I'll put it up there. He says it's a thing that the Great Lake captains have reported for 100 years or more. Time ripples bounce you through time quickly to where you are experiencing time loss.
well, thanks for that, William. Yeah, we suffered time loss. There's no doubt about it because
Yeah.
there is no way it should have taken the
Right.
amount of time. It's a 3.5 hour journey.
Right.
It ended up taking us 10 hours to get home. Once
That's
we finally
crazy.
got our bearings together, now it's sunny, the sun is rising, we gassed up. And that's another thing, Krista. We should not have ran out of gas. We should have
Right.
burned maybe not even a half tank of gas on this
No.
trip. Should not have burned a half tank of gas. We were on E. We were running on fumes. So we apparently were doing something
Mm-hmm.
to burn all that gas.
Right. You were, yeah.
So, and again, we were up. It was totally dark. The moon was covered. The stars were covered. We saw this light. Now, here's my question to you. We don't even recall. We assumed it was the Michigan light.
Yeah.
Now, for all we know, was it a portal? Was it
Yeah.
something?
That's crazy. I have no explanation for that. Honestly, I couldn't fathom. I mean, I just,
And Barry looks like he's trying his computer. Everybody, I know you're expecting Barry
yeah.
Brown. He's having some technical difficulties. And so hopefully Barry gets that together. Great guy, Barry Brown. But so Krista, so we lost this time.
Yeah.
We're even pulling up maps because we had, again, Mickey, a great navigator. He took all the courses in
Sure.
navigation. I know a little bit about navigation. So did Mike, because I spent a lot of my young adulthood
Mm-hmm.
and teenage years on the water. I know Detroit River. I know Lake Eerie. And we just know, and even if you're not good at navigation, we know what to look for. We know the islands out there and stuff. Now, granted, it was pitch black,
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
William says he'd be happy to explain the time ripple effect. It looks like we might be getting Barry, everybody. I see something going on
Yay.
here. So yes, William Nighthawk, if Barry has difficulties, I can maybe bring you on board today. But it looks like Barry, I don't know. I just see Barry. I don't see nothing else. So I'm
Yeah, I
going to
don't
add
see
Barry to
anything
the
else on my
stream.
side either.
Well, here's the circle going for Barry. So Barry is working through it.
Mm-hmm.
Barry is working through it, everybody. So, yeah, William, that'd be great. The time ripple effect. I don't
Yeah.
know much about that. And yeah, Gemini, I just made
Yeah.
mention about going through a portal because that Michigan light might not have been the Michigan light, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was dark, so you just seen the light. You assumed,
Yeah, but we actually even kind of knew how long it would take to see the light. And we were spot on with that, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We knew it would take about a 3.5 hour ride. We knew the Michigan Light would be up in about an hour and a half. And we even looked at the watches. It was roughly that same time period. We assume it's the light, of course.
Right.
And we went due southwest, which is the way you had to go.
Yeah.
And okay, looks like we got Barry coming up. Great.
Hey, there he is.
And again, so that we'll put a pin in it. We'll put a pin in it because we have Barry backstage, and I don't know how long this is going to hold up for. So I am going to bring up Mr. Barry Brown. Barry, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Rob?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
It's you're kind of breaking up, and it could be my signal. I'm afraid of this.
Well, you know what, Barry? I can hear you. I can hear you.
I don't understand why it wouldn't let me do it on the phone. So,
okay, but can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you? Well, so they're okay. Well, Barry's gonna try something else there.
Real quick, while he's trying, Jim asked you, the aliens were messing with you. Did any of you have any odd marks on your bodies?
Again, it was some time ago, I don't know. But I do know this to answer that question, Jim. Not that, again, I don't know this is fact from people that I've spoken with over the last several years that have time loss and affiliate with aliens. Isn't it true? Well, again, I hate to throw out words that are finite like true, but
yeah,
a lot of people that experience time loss, they say it's an alien abduction. Now, perhaps were we abducted? Because you do know in the Great Lakes, from what I recall and from what I've heard from other various people, that UFO bases are all along the bottom of the Great Lakes.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
And when you experience time loss, that says to be an alien abduction. Now, again, to answer the question, I couldn't tell you if I had an odd marking on me. It was 5-6 years ago.
Right.
The only thing that was strange is where did we lose this time? And it befuddles me to know when.
Yeah, that's a scary thing. That's something I've never experienced, nor do I ever want to. That's scary.
Yeah, well, and I never thought much about it until starting to do this, right? I mean, we thought it was really weird, but we didn't investigate it.
Yeah.
In fact, I went to work and I had to tell my boss. I had to make up a story to tell my boss at the time. Barry, you got headphones?
Well, here's the circle golf, Barry. So Barry is working through it.
Can you hear me?
Way behind. Barry, you need some headphones.
Great time ripple effect. I don't know much about that.
And turn off the show.
About going through a portal.
Or turn the volume down on the show.
Barry, you got to turn down your volume.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was dark.
He can't even hear me. He can't even hear me.
Yeah. So we actually kind of knew how long.
Yeah. Paranormal Pixie has a good comment here, Rob. Yeah. She said, have you considered hypnosis to help you understand what you experienced?
That regression therapy? Yeah, yes. I've considered that.
Yeah.
Much like Texas considered it for some of the things he had going on.
Oh, there he is again.
Okay, looks like we got
Barry. Can you hear?
And again,
this is going to mess up.
Put a pin in it. We have Barry next to you. Hold up.
Hello?
Bring out Mr. Barry Brown.
Barry, can you hear? Turn down the volume. See, he's getting a delay. This is. You got to turn down your volume. I got.
You hear me?
Yeah, but I got to call.
I'm having to listen to you on the phone because the computer's breaking y'all up.
Gotcha.
Well, do you have because we're getting but we're having an echo and everything we say is delayed. Do you have headphones or something to plug into the phone?
I don't understand why it wouldn't let me do it on the phone. So okay, but can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Well, see, but you need to.
He's about 5 minutes behind. I believe.
You're about 5 minutes behind.
Seems like there's a delay.
Well, you know what? Okay, I don't know what to do on this.
They
Yeah,
gave
with him
us some
listening to
time
it
on
on
the
through
show.
YouTube, it's just
I don't
he's
know.
too far behind.
Sorry, buddy, for these technical
Hmm.
things. Yeah, he's got to turn down. He's got to turn off his
Yeah,
YouTube. I'm gonna see if I can call this guy. I don't even have his number. I hope he answers his
yeah, because
phone.
he's about 5 minutes behind the kind of the lag, you know.
Hang on, I'm gonna call this guy, Chris, to keep our audience
Yeah,
entertained. I gotta
yeah,
move away for a minute.
no problem. If anybody's gonna watch Blondes tonight, we have a pretty good guest. It's psychic medium Sarah Lamos, and I'm pretty excited to have her on the show. She helped me 10 years ago when nobody else would, and I'll tell the story this evening about it. But it was before she ever did TV or any of that good stuff. So it'd be worth tuning
Yeah,
in.
you're about 5 minutes behind, and I can't hear because you either have to
PMR
turn off the YouTube. If you can just turn
is
off the YouTube
I don't know if I
and
can.
turn down the volume on YouTube, and if you got like headphones or earbuds, that would help too, because you're about 5 minutes behind on a delay,
Yeah, let me
which we
see.
can deal with the delay.
Okay, you guys just have me until he comes back because he was talking on the phone. Anyway, so I'm really excited about Sarah coming on. I took her very first class, metaphysics class, 10 years ago, and she's out in Oregon. I'm in Missouri, so it was kind of cool. Last year, I actually got to meet her face to face, so that was really cool. And she's a very talented psychic medium. So we definitely appreciate everybody that's saying they're going to be there and listen. And then tomorrow night we have Ron Moorhead, so that's going to be cool. And then the Nana Boss is going to co-host with us, so that'll be fun. So if anybody, we got Ghost tonight and Bigfoot tomorrow, so it'll be good shows. I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, I watched. I don't know if any of you guys have watched Texas' new show that came out on Saturday, this past Saturday, and I enjoyed it. I don't know about the rest of you. And he's got another one coming out this Saturday, and I believe it's 2 p.m. Central Time, so that'll be a good one. Looking forward to watching that too. So anyway, I'm going to just kind of go back through the comments here and read some comments here. Paranormal Pixie says, and she's a wonderful teacher and mentor. Absolutely, she is. Like I said, she helped me when nobody else would, and I'll tell the story this evening. And when we finally got to meet face to face last year, it was actually at McIntyre Villa in Atchison, Kansas. And oh my gosh, we just ran up and hugged like old friends because we've kept in touch through the years, through Facebook and texting. Sorry, Rob, I didn't mean
All
to
right.
get rid of you.
Oh no, you're fine. Hey, can
We were
hey,
hearing your conversation, so that's why I removed you.
okay? Can you hear Barry? Start talking and see if people can hear you. I might have to hold my phone, everybody, because I do want to do the interview with Barry. Barry, start talking. I want to see if people in chat can hear you, and everybody in chat, let us know if you can hear. Barry, go ahead. Start saying. Just say.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear everybody in chat. Can you hear good?
Can everybody in the chat hear me?
I
Somebody.
can hear
Okay, people in chat can hear Barry. Just start talking on. Just start talking.
Okay.
Just A,
Hello,
B, C,
everybody.
D. I just want to make sure. Okay, Joe's. I suppose. Okay, I guess they can hear you, Barry.
Yeah,
So why
Jose.
don't we just?
Yep, they can.
Okay, Joe. Okay, Barry. What we're gonna do is start from the beginning. Why don't you? People can hear you. I'm gonna keep the phone up. Again, Barry Brown is with us via phone from Texas, Oklahoma, researcher with both Bigfoot, Dogman, and Barry. Why don't you start this out and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with all this?
I was invited to go to Brown Springs back in 2017. And at the time I was told I may see something, I may not, but they could show me some evidence,
Right.
And actually Tex was with me that day. And that's when I saw what I consider my first Bigfoot. It was we had gone up to the cemetery, and Tex had walked deeper into the cemetery, and we were standing there and got a rock thrown at us, and turned around, and there was a stump by a tree, and then the stump disappeared back behind the tree, and then it came back, and then it disappeared again, and it did that, several times, and then it just disappeared altogether. And we finally got Tex up there with us, and we heard what sounded like a 300-pound woodpecker. And later on, Tex and I did a little investigation and found out that was probably an alpha male beating his chest, because it sounded just like a silverback gorilla beating his chest, except 10 times louder,
Yeah.
Wow.
Then we walked over to the fence row that was on the other side of the fence was private property. And I kind of walked down the hill about 40 yards, and I was just looking out through the property, and I noticed this one tree was shaking really violently. And I just followed the tree down, and as I got closer to the ground, I see this big, huge, reddish brown, spiky looking haired head that was probably as wide as my shoulders. And at the time, I had a 35 millimeter camera, and I reached down and grabbed my camera, and I pulled it up, looked through the viewfinder, and it was gone. Wow. Just that quick.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went on down to the river area, which was where Tex goes a lot to do his research. It's we've camped there, so and we walked in, and I saw this brown flash, and I thought, oh my God, I'm fixing to see another one. Well, it wasn't. It was a deer, and it was running right at us. And as the deer got close enough to see us, it took a hard left, and it to our right and its left, and went into a brush pile or briars. And we heard this big crash, and it never came out the other side.
Wow.
Don't know what that was, but we never saw the deer again.
Wow.
That was the point where we left after that day. But I've been in there, I think, a total of 9 times. Sometimes with a group of people, sometimes with just a couple of people. I've been in there a couple of times by myself. And at times, it's just like a natural forest or natural woods. You see squirrels and birds, and there's occasional hog runs through there. But I have noticed that there are times where there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on in there, and it's usually what I've noticed was after a rain. If it's rained the night before, then all of this weird stuff shows up. It's what Bigfoot in Germany calls the others, and maybe it's paranormal, maybe it's other cryptids. I don't know. I have seen things. We saw what appeared to be a white face, but it would smile at us, and then the mouth would go back down normal, and then it would smile at us real big again. And I've got a couple of pictures of that, and the face looks almost cat-like.
Really?
That sounds crazy. Yeah.
So real quick question.
And that's just my opinion. It's, I guess 10 people could look at it and see 10 different things, but it's most definitely there. And there was more than one face in that brush pile, and we could see it with the naked eye. It wasn't like we had to zoom in on it or anything. It was maybe 20 yards away, 30 yards away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got other pictures from Brown Springs I've got one that looks like a stick person, about maybe 18 inches tall. You can see the knees.
Hey, Barry, right quick, before you continue on, I don't think Krista can hear you because of the way the setup is. So, Krista, tell me the question that you had. I'll ask Barry right quick.
I was just going to ask 2 things I got to tell you. If it was like a friendly type smile, or was it evil type smile. And my next thing is, instead of you sitting there holding your phone, you're more than welcome to have him call my phone. I've got a place I can prop it up, and he should be able to hear. So
Yeah,
on that. So
then I have to hang. Okay.
And then you wouldn't have to hold it. So.
Oh, really? Well, maybe at the break we can maybe do that.
That's fine.
I just want to keep this going now, but thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Krista asked, was it a friendly smile face, or was it more sinister or evil? Apparently, when you saw it,
it was, I would say, kind of more sinister. It wasn't like it was wanting to be friendly with us. I mean, it wasn't. But whatever it was, all we were seeing was the face. We weren't seeing a whole body.
Mm-hmm.
But the brush pile was thick enough that it could have been the body could have been hidden, in the brush, and all we were seeing was the face. But yes, it didn't look like a friendly smile. No.
Right. And your immediate thought was you didn't know if it was. So really, it's an entity.
We really didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
It was just really, really creepy and really odd from anything I had ever seen at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we were about to leave, I looked down and saw the letter A made out of sticks. And I have seen this letter more than once, and they're always made the same way. The sticks are laid on top of each other exactly the same way to make the letter A.
Yeah.
And I've heard this from other people too. I've also seen the letter Y. I'm not sure why, if it is Bigfoot doing that, why they make certain letters, if there's some sort of meaning to it, or if it's just random that they're doing. I don't know. Another time that I went in there, and I've got a video of this, and I showed it on World Bigfoot Radio with Duke a few weeks ago. I got a picture or a video of what I consider to be a dog man, and several people say the same thing. You can see it stand up and turn and walk away in like 7 seconds. It's like a 7-second video, and then it's gone. But you can definitely see a long snout. You can definitely see long ears.
Wow.
And not only that, I've gone over that video with Bigfoot in Germany several times, and it appears to be a Bigfoot squatted down right beside the dog man.
Wow, really? Have you ever a Bigfoot and a dog man together by each other, you're saying?
Yes.
Wow. So I was thinking, what's your thoughts on that right quick? Because and again, who knows if this is an accurate statement. I was under the assumption that Bigfoot and Dogman really try to avoid each other. Now, I could be mistaken from most of the people I've spoken with.
That could be true, but I have also heard other people talk about Bigfoot and Dogman being together.
Yeah.
There's a lady named Cindy Carter that went to investigate a property, and she saw a dog man with juvenile Bigfoot.
Wow.
More or less like the dog man was babysitting. I really don't know for sure.
Yeah, because I've even heard stories about even the First Nations people where now it depends on which tribe, right? Some that say that some dogmen are protectors of the forest, and some say Bigfoot's protector of the forest. And I have heard the stories that they work together, but I've never heard them being like as close to each other like you're reporting. That's really
right. That was really bizarre. And I know of places where the dog man have run Bigfoot out of the area. It could be that certain clans or, just like First Nation clans, you had warring clans that would war against other clans just because that's the way they were. Maybe that's the way with the Dogman clans and the Bigfoot clans. Maybe some of them get along with each other and maybe some of them don't. That's really speculation as to what it really is. And we may never know the answer to that.
Yeah,
but that kind of get to the werewolf thing. And I've been doing a lot of discussion with Bigfoot in Germany and a couple of other people who believe that a lot of what we're seeing and thinking is Dogman is really a werewolf. And I'm not talking about a werewolf in the sense of the Hollywood sense where a man turns into a wolf. I'm talking about it being a cryptid all by itself. I have seen, I've seen pictures that they look like the Hollywood werewolves. I've seen other pictures where they look like different types of dogs. Mm-hmm. So maybe there's a difference between a Dogman and a werewolf. But, according to what happened in Germany years ago was that they were supposed to have Germany. But what if they went underground? And this is just me speculating on that.
Sure.
What if they went to a different country? What if they are going through portals and ending up in different places around the world?
Well, even with the werewolf, I don't think the werewolf thing is an out there statement to make. Now, of course, we hear about werewolves through folklore, and certainly folklore starts. There's always something behind why these stories start, because these stories are derived from someone somewhere that's seen something. So you just can't dismiss it as myth or legend. I think there's something to it, especially when you're talking about in Germany, because I think if I recall now, of course, Dogman really wasn't made public, or I wouldn't say made public. Back in 1987, I think is when Dogman really started coming to the forefront, correct? And even going back to William Nighthawk, a guy in chat was saying that Bigfoot protects the environment while Dogman protects the animals, which I find that an interesting statement. But going back, did the legend of werewolves, though, start in Europe?
I believe so. Those reports could have been, that there was what they called a dire wolf back, a couple of hundred years ago, maybe even a lot farther back than that, which was a huge wolf that sometimes walked on two legs. And this is just, reports of possibly mythical creatures. I really don't know. But I do know a couple of people that are pretty much convinced that what we're seeing as a Dogman is a werewolf.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this really quick, and I know it's gonna be strange. I know you might have a strange opinion. However, when I hear werewolf, I do think shapeshifter. I'm thinking, person that was cast a spell upon that went from human to the Hollywood type. Is that? What's your thoughts on that? Do you think that the werewolf is a shapeshifter, or because werewolf and Dogman to me are probably different?
I think they could be possibly two different cryptids.
Right.
And I'm not, the werewolf, or what's considered to be a werewolf, maybe it's a shapeshifter. I really don't know. That's something that, we're just going to have to pay attention to the sightings and really dig into finding out the differences in all of the sightings, and because I know of somebody that's seen what he calls a dog man, but it's got a head like a wolf, and the canine teeth are so big it can't close its mouth. And it looks like it's smiling all the time. And he's seen this one on several occasions.
Wow.
You know, I haven't been able to do enough research on the dog man, even though I have seen what I consider a dog man, and I've got another picture. I walked right within 3 feet of one, and took a screenshot out of the video, and it's probably about 7 feet tall, but it looks like a black German Shepherd type creature.
Yeah. So when you say it looks like a black German Shepherd creature, did it have the hock legs?
Now,
yeah.
It was standing between two trees, and it had looked like a paw, like a bear, but it had looked like the fingernails, like a human fingernails.
Yeah.
There's so many different weird descriptions of the different ones, you know, even around the world. Not just here, but Germany and in Australia and Canada, South America. People are seeing these things all over. Now, is it just that there's an influx of sightings right now because of the internet, or is there maybe a population explosion and they're seeing more of them? I really don't know. There's still a lot we need to investigate, and you know, a lot of people need to really get together and gather their information and compare notes and see the similarities. And that's where we're going to find our really good research, is in comparing the similarities and the differences between the sightings. And
hang on one second. Barry. Yeah, Freaky Geek, go ahead. I'm reading that. It's only so much I can do here. Really quick, Barry. Thanks to everybody in chat. I got Barry on the phone here. Internet's not working. Freaky, go ahead. Hello to everybody. Thanks for coming on in. And Barry Brown via the phone from Texas. Go ahead. Oh, by the way, everyone, the super chat is open. Super thanks is open. We're streaming on Bigfoot Mission Rob and Texas Front Porch. Okay, Barry, go ahead.
Okay. Just gathering information and try to create a database where we can all observe the similarities and differences in these creatures. Even the Bigfoot, you know, I mean, there's big similarities between what we've got down here in Texas and what they've got up in Montana, where Duke's at. You know, it's a big difference. They seem to be smaller here than they are in the mountains for some reason. But you know, I live 12 miles from the Mineola Nature Preserve, and I've been in there many, many times on my own, and many times with other people. And I've seen, you know, even Tex, when they had the Texas Roadshow last year, he found some, it looked like braided saplings. They were twisted together and looked like they were braided. I've seen 8-inch in diameter oak trees bent into an arch, pinned to the ground with a log on top of it.
Yeah.
I don't think it grew that way. Now, you know, there's times when that can't happen, but the couple that I've seen, and one of them, somebody's cut it down now, but it was bent over and weaved between two trees.
Wow.
I don't know. And you know, the one with the 8-inch diameter, I took a picture of that and I sent it to Bob, and he sent it back to me and had a circle, and he said, "Look down the hill, there's a Bigfoot with his arms on, kind of leaned on a log looking right at you." And
wow.
Sure enough, there it was. You know, not 50 yards away. I've seen in the Mineola Nature Preserve trees that had really small limbs, all, you know, from the base all the way to the top.
Yeah.
and from about 8 foot up, it looks like something wrapped its arms around it and broke all the limbs down and left them leaning against the tree all the way around the tree.
Wow.
Now, there were 2 or 3 trees that were done like that, but then there were other trees that were the same trees, and they still had the limbs on them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something a raccoon is going to do.
Yes.
I don't know of any, what you might call a natural animal that would do something like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or is even big enough to do it all the way around a tree. And I'm talking, the tree is probably, a foot in diameter.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what, Barry, unfortunately, I have to put a pin in that right there because we have to go to our advertisers for the radio side. But you know what I'm going to do? And it's going to be a 5-minute break, but I'm going to try something really quick. I'm right now, since I'm putting the link for this show, I just put it in the chat just now.
Okay.
So during the 5 minutes, if you want to go click on that, and maybe that might work better. Because anybody that has a phone or computer, I just put it in just now. It's under Gemini Moon StreamYard link. Go look for that because we have 5 minutes. See if you can click on that. But stay on the line, or I could call you back. See if that works. If not, let's go back to the phone. But again, I do have to break away from our sponsors. We have Barry Brown. Go check out the link. Ian, it's in there under Bigfoot Mystery Rob between Gemini and Pam Smith. Hi, Pam. I'll be back. We got to take the break, though, before our advertisers get a little bit mad at us here. So 5 minutes. Barry, check it out. We'll be back with Barry Brown. Fantastic story. Fantastic guest.
Mm-hmm.
Technical difficulties, but hey, that's what happens during live radio.
That's
All right,
it.
we'll be back. That's right.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. 2-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Hello, everybody. We're back with Barry Brown. Sorry, everybody, for the technical issues. We'll try to get Barry back up. Barry, I dropped the link on the in chat on the Bigfoot Michigan Rob YouTube channel. If somebody would want to copy and paste it and put it in Texas, so I don't know what chat he's on because we're streaming on both shows. But thanks for everybody for joining. I appreciate it. Mondays is Texas Front Porch, 7:30 in the East. Tuesdays, Van Buren Variety, 8 o'clock in the East. Beyond BMR, 9 o'clock in the East, of course, on Tuesday. Tuesday night also at 10 in the East. Jason McLean does something called Mysterious Library at Untold Radio AM. Go check out Jason. You get Jason on Wednesdays as well. Jason McLean Questions Everything, 9 o'clock in the East. Thursday, brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, 1 o'clock in the East, me and Krista. Krista tonight with Brandy, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. Please subscribe. They're at 9 in the East. You need a little woo with the booze? Blondes and the Booze and the Woo Fridays, 9 in the East. Saturday, Tex, Danielle Diva, True Crime, Infamous Minds. That's on Saturdays, 3 in the East. They did a great job last week. Go check that new show out if you're into true crime. It's quite spectacular. Jessica Jones, Saturday and Sunday on Spaced Out Radio. That comes on 10 in the East. Go check her out, the Cryptid Huntress. Speaking of Dave Scott, May 19th through the 21st is the second annual Dave Scott fan party in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Golden Nugget Hotel. If anybody would want to go on down and join in the festivities, you can find that on the Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob Facebook page. And I do have a Facebook page now that I mention it. It's BMR _ Rob Carr, something like that on Facebook. If you want to look me up, check it out. I'm also on Twitter and all that good stuff. Please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob, Texas Front Porch, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. I don't know that Barry got the link. I'm going to have to call him back. It looks like I'm going to bring up Krista. So, again, technical delays, Krista, live streaming, I'm going to have to go back to the phone, it looks like, because I don't know if Barry got that. No response back. It's a great show.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he could hear me when I asked questions, so I've just been writing things down when it's time, so no problem. Yeah. And just let everybody know your Facebook page is Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob.
Oh, okay. Yes, thank you. I didn't even know that. You see, I got a Facebook page. I don't even know what the hell the handle is. You know,
Yep, that's it.
I somehow got 800 people on it now.
Yeah, you're
So,
almost there.
yeah, I'm getting to 1,000 on that.
I think you had
And
like 4 new ones this morning when I did the
no
welcome
kidding.
list.
Well, thank you to everybody for
Yeah,
that. I'm going to have Barry back on. I'm going to give him another call. Apparently, it ain't working. So, everybody, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience. If I can't get Barry back on, which I'm sure I'll be able to on the phone, maybe we'll drop a link. Well, you got to go somewhere anyway at 2:30, right, Krista?
Oh yeah,
Or
I have
so
to go
we
back
may.
to work.
Well, we'll just see if I can get Barry back to finish out the show. Again, I'll have to come back on. I apologize to everybody, but it's not really the fault. It's hey, he's got the internet
Mhm.
issues, and
Yep, can
yeah,
understand
this has
that.
been a fantastic show. It's such a pain in the ass. Such a pain in the ass
Yep,
with this. Let me give Barry a quick call.
yeah.
So I'm trying to say hi to everybody and talk and chat. So I can't do my normal thing. And here goes Barry. Call me back. So hello, Barry.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I could always hear you. It's just that I sent the link in chat to see if you could get on that. But you know what? Let's not worry about it. I'm gonna want to have you back so we can get
Mhm.
we can get everything 100% squared away. But fantastic show. People are loving it. And again, we've got about 20 minutes in the show, Barry, and it's fantastic. We're talking about Bigfoot and this dog man, this werewolf thing has really got me going. And what do you think, Barry? You think these? Do you think when we're talking dog man, do you think they're multidimensional? Do you think that they're flesh and blood? Because what we've been talking about really lends the side of the paranormal, which I'm all about. Because I'm not one of these people that
Mhm.
think that Bigfoot or dogman are just flesh and blood. I think they got paranormal elements. I think they're supernatural involved. I am on the side of the woo. A lot of people don't dig that, but you know what? That's okay. We're all entitled to our opinions. I just don't
Right.
like people that wear blinders to go on with this because
Right.
that's just my thoughts. And nobody's weird if they believe in the woo. So if you want to continue on, Barry Brown from the phone, technical difficulties on Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob and Krista. Go ahead, Barry.
All right, can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you fine.
Can everybody in chat hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I know it's very controversial about whether Bigfoot and Dogman are flesh and blood, or if they're interdimensional, or or if they're just going through portals, or whatever. I think that they have certain abilities that are beyond what we can perceive sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that they are flesh and blood, but I do believe that they can go through portals. I've seen video evidence of it. I do believe that they can cloak. I've seen video evidence of it. And that's just my opinion. The next person can have a completely different opinion, and I respect that 100%. Tomorrow or next week or next year, I may have a completely different opinion depending on what I find in my research.
Right.
And that should be true with everybody. I try to look at all of it with a very open mind. And, seeing my first Bigfoot opened my mind to a lot of things. And then I've seen a lot of stuff that could be considered paranormal. I've even got shadow people in my house. So
Barry, that's another topic for another day, because I've had them before.
That's for another day. But, I'm just saying I've seen a lot of different things that are not Bigfoot or Dogman. And some of them seem to have a paranormal aspect to them, and others seem to have a physical aspect to them, at least somewhat. I've seen things that aren't transparent that you can't see through, and they're the strangest looking creatures I've ever seen in my life. And my big question is, I've been in the woods most all my life. Why have I not seen them before? Is it because I didn't know what to look for, or is it because I was distracted looking at other things and just didn't pay attention to it? I really don't know.
That's such a great question, because I think it's because we don't know, we're not looking for it. I can make a recollection for you really quick and kind of answer some of that. I had my Bigfoot experience some time back. And so my brother, he's a hunter. He's been in the woods for 20, 30 years, hunter. And I told him about my Bigfoot encounter story. And he's like, wow, blah, blah, blah. He goes, how come I've never seen one for 20 or 30 years of hunting? I said, probably because you're not looking for for tracks. You're probably not looking for a person that researches Bigfoot. We all know what to look for, the tells out in the woods, right? So he was going on, told me the story about how he tracked down a deer. He shot it. He tracked it for several hundred miles, followed the blood trail, and it led to this tree, Barry, a big wide tree, and he could see. Now, this is after he knows about my encounter. So the deer fell right there. You can see the impression of the deer. There's puddles of blood right around where the deer should be. And he says, Rob, there's not a hunter within 20 miles of him. There was no RV. There was no four-wheeler that went there. But when he got there, the deer was gone. He goes, where the hell did this deer go? So he says, Rob, he looks at this tree, and he followed from the base of the tree up about 10, 12 feet was a blood trail, like the deer was dragged up this tree, but it stopped right there, Barry. It stopped. The blood trail stopped up the tree after about 10, 12 feet and disappeared. And he's looking, and there's a lot of big, sprawling, strong trees around. And he's thinking, what the hell is this? So he called me. He went back, called me like an hour later, explained what happened. He goes, Rob, you think that a Bigfoot snatched it up? And I'm like, dude, perhaps. But he found no tracks. Now he started looking for tracks, found nothing. There was nothing there, Barry. And then we both had that then we're both wondering, well, where the hell did it go? And that's where it was my first belief that either it swung out of there. I know they can swing from trees, but you're talking about a 1,200-pound animal. I don't think they swing from trees personally because of their weight, unless you're out in the redwoods of the Pacific Northwest. So again, I think the interdimensional opportunity there, I believe.
Well, here's another thought too. What if that tree was a portal?
Yep.
And it went up the tree and just disappeared into the tree.
You know what? I think trees are a portal. I think some trees are mysterious. They've been around for millions of years. And I subscribe to the theory that some trees are portals.
Well, here's something else that's probably going to
blow my mind.
It may make some people mad, and it's going to make some people laugh.
You're right.
But I know somebody, and their grandmother told them, be careful of the trees or watch the trees. And he has seen trees walk off.
Oh, wow.
Sort of like the Ents in The Lord of the Rings.
Yes, right. I've seen that. I was about to say that.
As many crazy things as I've seen, I don't rule out the possibility of anything anymore.
Agreed.
This world is a very fascinating place, and with the internet, we have been able to present a lot of things that people haven't ever seen to other people, to all the masses. And some people are in the mindset that they just don't believe anything. There's still people out there that think the Patterson-Gimlin film is a fake.
I know.
I've seen too much other footage of before that footage was taken, and what happened is pretty tragic and pretty sad.
Yep.
Hey,
I got a question for you. I'm just again trying to read through. I see this. One of our newer subscribers. Hi, Keiju Ninja 1985. Thanks for joining us. Have you seen any UFO activity in your area? Because again, I prescribe to this as well, Barry. Portal or UFOs and orbs, things like that. There's a lot of reports that these things materialize out of those. So my question from Keiju is, any UFO activity in your research area?
Well, I kind of wonder whether the first time I went to Brown Springs and we heard what we call the 300-pound woodpecker, and we also heard what sounded like two wet trees rubbing together. But both of those sounds were coming from above. It wasn't coming, our level through the woods, and we were on a hill. And these sounds sounded like they were coming from above us. I've also talked to Bigfoot in Germany, Bob. He had something similar to that happen in Germany. But he also heard a metallic sound at the same time he heard the squeaking sound too. I think it's possible, along with, the possibility of Tex being abducted by aliens. I do believe there's possibility that UFOs are in the area. I have had a couple of things that were unexplained. I was in Honabi, Oklahoma, and saw a pulsing light go all the way across the sky. It was a perfectly clear night, and watched it go from horizon to horizon, and it would go a little bit and stop, and then it would go a little bit and stop. It wasn't a plane, and it didn't have. It was only a white light. There was no red or green lights on it.
Gotcha.
I believe that was some type of UFO. I saw, when I was younger, I saw what I thought was a meteorite. And my brother was with me. We both saw it. And then about 2 minutes later, the same meteorite took off and went back up into space, just like it, in the same trajectory it took. It came down. That was just really kind of weird, and I didn't know what to think about that. That was back in the early 70s. I've also seen orbs, and I've seen where somebody say, "Oh, I wouldn't doubt that an orb doesn't show up in the picture." And sure enough, as soon as he said that, we went back and looked at the video footage, and there was a red orb that was in the footage right there. Are those orbs Bigfoot? I don't know. Are they spirits? There's the possibility is probably endless, but I do know I've got pictures that were sent to me of orbs that turned into fairies.
Yeah.
And one of the pictures looks like, you've heard people talk about the rods and their little corkscrew looking things that fly around.
Yes.
One of those orbs turned into something that looked similar to that, but the other ones, you could see actual feathers, look like bird feathers. I have a friend that he had some cameras out around his house with the infrared light, and he got pictures of a fairy trying to tear his camera up, and it was good enough pictures. He got pictures of the toe. You could see the toes and the fingers. He turned the red light off, and they quit messing with it.
Man.
Wow.
Man, just the things that I've seen and talked to people about over the last 7 years is just over the top, beyond my wildest dreams that I would have ever thought existed, but there's absolutely something to it.
Chris, did you have a quick question I'll ask Barry? Because I know it's kind of unusual how we're doing this. You got anything that comes to your mind I can ask Barry?
I was just curious, before he went to Brown Springs, was he a believer in the cryptid scene before then, or did it take his encounter before he became a true believer.
Krista asks, in your Brown Springs encounter, were you a believer prior to Brown Springs, or did this, when you were in Brown Springs, did it enhance what you already knew?
I have been a believer since the Patterson-Gimlin film first came out.
Okay.
Mhm.
That day in Brown Springs, I became a knower.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Got you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I believed that they existed, but I always thought they were up in the Northwest. I never thought they were down here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've heard many reports, some good and some bad. And I think that it's very possible that just like us humans, there are good ones and bad ones.
I prescribe to that theory as well.
Mm-hmm.
Really quickly, these people that say the friendly forest giant, and I don't mean to offend anybody either, but I say I'm transparent with everybody. I'm not prescribing to that theory because, as you said, there's good and there's bad. I believe thoroughly what I seen would have killed me had I been up close and personal with it. Saw from 90 feet from a boat, right? But what happened to me that afternoon, I'm sure that I would not be sitting here talking to you had I been on land.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, yes, I know. Hey, I know some people talk to these things. I know that they habituate with them, and that's fine and dandy. But just like, and humans are terrible. As a human being, we know that the human race sucks. Let's face facts, right? But so does any other
Right.
creature. I'm not going to trust a Bigfoot, a dog man, a moth man, lizard man, monkey man. I know whatever you want to prescribe to.
I've heard all those same things myself, and I have been close enough for them to do something if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And Dogman and Bigfoot are both big enough and strong enough to rip you limb from limb if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But I also wonder if, it's just like some people are targeted in a group with infrasound, and it makes them deathly sick. And, the others around them, it didn't affect them at all.
Mm-hmm.
Or one person in a group sees something, everybody else is looking the same direction. None of them see it but that one person. I wonder if they allow us, certain people, to see them when they want us to.
I think
I had a dog one time, and this is kind of off topic, but
yeah, go ahead.
There was a guy that I was working at a bar and lived in the house next door, but my dog started going crazy when this guy pulled up in the driveway.
Okay.
Come to find out, this was a guy that was bad news all the time. She picked it up before he got out of the car. So, with that being said, I think it's possible that they know what's in a person's heart. They have that sixth sense to know whether you're a good person or a bad person.
Yeah, I
think it's possible. I'm not saying that.
No. Again, I get what you're saying. I think that they know our intentions before we get out of our vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
I think they know our intentions while we're camping in the forest. I think they can sum us up if we're a good or bad person, regardless if we're hanging out, singing campfire songs. I think that they show themselves if they want to show them to us. There are people that have been in the woods for 20, 30 years that are actual Bigfoot researchers, Barry, that have never even seen one, right? And I get that.
Exactly.
I wasn't a Bigfoot researcher when I saw my first Bigfoot. It showed itself to me. Some suggest that I was around where its kids were, but what I saw was a human-like looking figure, 9 foot tall, reddish brown hair covered. But then, you know what, Barry? Then I got hit with that infrasound. I got hit with some shockwave. My girlfriend fell off the boat. I took a stumble back. And now the blues, the greens of the water, the greens of the forest, even the red and the brown of the Bigfoot that I saw everything turned black and white. It seems like time stood still. Then it yelled, roared, and
Oh, wow.
screamed at me at once. And it turned from a humanoid looking thing with Down syndrome, which is kind of what it looked like, into a demon. And so for the longest time, I called this thing a demon. Now, I don't think it's a demon, Barry, what I saw, but certainly I still question whether it was a Bigfoot or not, which is why, again, I prescribe to the theory of flesh and blood and something supernatural, paranormal. And I get that a lot of Bigfoot that are get kicked out of their tribe, right, or out of their clan because they're socialized animals and or high. I'm not going to call them an animal, a hybrid of something, right? So if you're not respectful of your clan, they do get thrown out, and those are the ones that are pissed off. I mean, that's a theory that I kind of subscribe to.
And I even think too, like the
I
young
agree with that
males.
too, because then they become rogue.
Rogues, yep, absolutely.
And I think with a clan, you have more of a family structure.
Yes.
They have juveniles, they have babies. I've got a picture of one with a baby under her arm, and she was blended into the tree. She looked like part of the tree. Actually, she had two babies, one on her shoulder and one underneath her arm, and they look like little monkeys. And I think that if they are kicked out of a clan, then they can become very dangerous because they are pissed off, we're kind of the same way in that aspect. If you're shunned by people, you become a very angry person.
For sure.
So I think that's possible with anything,
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a human being and you're ostracized for society for whatever the reason, you're gonna have a chip on your shoulder. You're not gonna be a friendly person, right?
Right.
And I think a lot of these things that goes on in today's world are from people that they don't have. Society has kind of dispelled them, right? So they go on these rampages. We can't figure out why people kill other people, especially in today's society. A lot of these kids now, all these mass shootings we have in high schools, grade schools, a lot of these come back. I did some research on this. A lot of these children, and I'm not going to buy the entire mental health thing. I'm buying a lot of people are born that way, and mental health is a part of it. But you know what? People that are ostracized from society, they are not, their thinking patterns are not the same as ours. And I didn't mean to get on that subject. I'm just trying to draw a parallel with these Bigfoot that are getting kicked out of clans. They are different. They're not as socialized because they were just now removed from an environment which they thrived in. And now they're a loner. They're a rogue, as you said, right? So, of course, they're going to be pissed off.
Right. Exactly. I agree with that 100%. And here's another thing too, the habituation and people gifting them. That's all fine and good until you stop.
Yes.
And, people are the same way. I mean, you look at some of these third world countries, they go in and take them food and they go nuts. You take away their food and they go really nuts.
What? Barry, you read my mind. Because I was about to ask you the question: are you I don't believe in habituation for that very reason. You give them let's say peanut butter every months on, they love it, they like it. Then all of a sudden you stop, they get mad, just like a kid. If you give in to your kid and give them candy every time they cry, and then they're fine. Then when you don't give them candy, guess what? They throw a tantrum, right?
Right. Well, and maybe habituation with little trinkets, toys, guitar picks, whatever,
Yeah.
I've seen that done without them getting angry, because it's something that they're not going to eat and it's something that they can play with it. What else do they have to do all day long? We raise our kids, we go to work, we go fishing and we go hunting and we go to baseball games and we go to concerts. Well, there's all the different kinds of things that we have to do. They have all this time from daylight till dark and after dark to do whatever they want to do. And giving them things like that to occupy their time may not be as bad as giving them food. I'm not saying I'm agreeing with any of it. You know, I think you're putting yourself you could put yourself in harm's way.
Yeah.
If you start giving them trinkets or if you give them food and then all of a sudden you stop.
I would agree.
Especially if you're doing it close to your house. Then they're going to get mad and start beating on your house, throwing rocks, peeking in the windows, taking your animals, whatever they want to do, because they're big enough and strong enough. They can do whatever they want to do.
They absolutely can. I agree with that. And, you know, I wanted to touch on something because Bob from Germany is a friend of mine. I don't get a chance to talk to him as often as you do. I'd like to have him on maybe one day when he's up to it and I get all that. But I talked to Bob maybe right after I had my encounter 5 years ago, and I told him my story, and we used to speak quite often, to be honest with you. And he told me he subscribes to this theory, and since I know you know him very well, he told me, Rob, because after I had my Bigfoot encounter, Barry, I had a lot of strange things start happening. I started seeing a lot of things that I saw a lot of things prior to it, because I think I just wasn't open-minded to it back then. But I think that when I had mine, I was really more prevalent. And Bob told me once you see one, not necessarily just Bigfoot, but we were just talking Bigfoot, and he said you're marked, and you now have this marking where wherever you go, they know who you are. And you are more apt to see them more prevalently or more often than usual, and you're kind of like they know who you are, and you don't know who they are.
Right. I agree 100% with that. Because after my first sighting and encounter, whatever you want to call it, I started seeing all kinds of other stuff. You know, like I said, I started seeing shadow people in my house, and they're not just apparitions. They look solid, or one of them does anyway, and I see them quite often. But I didn't see stuff like that before. Now I know that you've had paranormal experiences before your Bigfoot encounter, didn't you?
Oh, I certainly did.
Well, I think it's all connected in some way, somehow. It's all connected, or they are at least maybe not connected to each other, but kind of in the same sense. Maybe they're from a different place than here, even though, that doesn't mean that they can't be physical,
right?
Especially if they're going through portals. I do believe they have abilities that is beyond our scope of intellect, and we just don't understand it. And we may never understand it. But we can, as researchers, that's our job to put together the similarities and just observe the things that happen over and over and over again that are the same thing or similar, even with our own encounters, and then share those with other people, with an open mind, and not say, oh, well, I just don't believe that. Well, there's too much evidence that points. I mean, if you're a researcher, a Bigfoot researcher, and you have not encountered some kind of strange happenings after you've seen Bigfoot, then you probably really haven't seen Bigfoot, because once you do all these other things, what Bob calls the others, you start seeing them. You really do start seeing them, and I never saw them before that. So, that's an observation of myself, of what I've seen and what I've encountered. It changed once I saw the Bigfoot, and I do believe that you're marked once you once they allow you to see them, that means that they trust you in some way, I think. Otherwise, you wouldn't see them at all. I mean, just like these researchers that have done it for 20, 30, 40 years and never saw a Bigfoot, maybe the Bigfoot didn't want them to see it.
Well, you know what? I prescribe to this thought, Barry. If you're a researcher and you know what to look for, and you've been doing this for 20 plus years and have not seen one, the Bigfoot, they are summing up you as a person with ill intentions. And I'm not saying that these men or women have ill intentions. I'm not at all. But I think that they're probably not on that frequency, right? I mean, now we can get a lot of these stuff. Gosh, I got to have you back on, Barry, because there's so many great questions in chat, and this show is kind of, there's so much great stuff. This is so awesome.
A little bit of a late start, so we're running over. You know, and I wanted to touch on one thing that this Kaiju Ninja said about the siege at Honobia, and there's actually been 2 sieges at Honobia. One back in the 1800s, and then one, you know, back, I don't know, in the 70s or whenever it was. I do believe the first one was Janoskwa, or the face eaters, what they call the face eaters, which are, they have a short snout. They're not, and they've got canines. They don't have flat teeth.
Yeah.
But I do believe those 2 stories are real. But I think the second one, the more recent one, was because the people moved into a place. You know, they moved into a new home. There's deer on the property. They start killing the deer. Well, that was the Bigfoot's food source. I mean, what would you do if somebody came and came in your house and started taking stuff out of your freezer? It's kind of the same thing.
It is the same thing. You know. Yeah, I agree with you there. There was another question in chat about this. I've seen a stick person for everybody in chat, and a big question by 3 or 4 people. Have you seen a stick figure? I seen one after my Bigfoot encounter about 3 years later. Quick thoughts on that, then we're going to have to run because, well, I got to take off. I got my mom got a broken ankle. I take care of her a little bit, and I got to change her ice machine out. Any thoughts on that?
The stick figure, and I've got a picture of it. You can see the knees, you can see the arms, and it looks like you can see the hands. A leaf is covering up the body, and then you can see the head with the eyes and the mouth above the leaf. And it was only about maybe 16, 18 inches tall. And it was out away from the edge of the woods, you know, 10 or 12 feet. So it wasn't, and it was in the sunlight, and it wasn't, glare. And actually, my ex-wife, she pointed that out, and she wasn't even a believer. And she said, "Oh my God, it's got knees." You know, so yeah. I totally believe your stick figure, man, for sure.
Yeah, I'll close it on that for everyone. People asked if I seen one or you seen one. It was really brief. I was in a field. It was by my house, actually. There's a creek runs through my field. A creek runs through where I live, and it's surrounded by the woods on both sides. It's like it's more of a tree line, not really the woods, but it's all woods. So I'm sitting there. Me and my buddies were out because there's a place where we would hang out sometimes and have a bonfire going. But this is middle of the day. We went there just walking around. Thank you, Rocky.
Yes, thank you.
We were I was looking out in this meadow. Okay. Then all of a sudden I see something stand up, and I thought like a stick. It looked like a stick. It's a sprouted straight up, and I thought nothing of it because I just figured the wind just swept through the meadow, and this stick popped straight up. So I figured, hey, whatever. So I'm looking at this branch, it's about 18 inches long, maybe 12 to 18. And I said, oh, wow, check it out. All of a sudden, man, it got up, then it got a little taller and walked all the way to the creek. And you know what? I started running after it, and this thing took off. I can swear to God, man, Barry, it looked like it had little arms swinging back and forth and legs, and it disappeared right down into the creek. Barry, it jumped into the creek, then it turned to a regular stick, and it floated right down the stream.
Wow.
So that was my stick figure encounter. Yeah.
Wow.
I can, real quick, I'll give you another. Bob, Bigfoot in Germany. He had a German Shepherd dog when he was over there, that got a hold of a bush, and this bush was some type of creature because it ran off. The bush ran off.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And not long after that, his dog died of, I'm not sure if it was cancer or something.
Yeah.
Something happened to his dog, and he believes that it was whatever that thing was affected his dog when it got a hold of him and ended up killing him.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's so, you know, there's just so many strange things that people are encountering and people are talking about now.
You know,
like I said, I've got an open mind now enough to where not very many things shock me anymore. When people say, "Oh, I saw this" or "I saw that," well, it's like, well, maybe you did, because I've seen some pretty strange things myself.
yes, sir. You know, again, Barry, man, thank you to Pam Smith. Thank you to Rocky for super chat. I got to have you back on, Barry, because I want to do this without propping a phone in my hand for over an hour. And it's no fan. And I'm not cutting you up, brother. I love you. I appreciate this. I could talk with you for hours. In fact, our chat has gone nowhere. They enjoyed it despite how we've had a little technical problem. We got to figure that out for next time, because you're a wealth of knowledge. This is one of the most fun interviews I've done. I'll be honest with you, despite, you know, what's been happening. I appreciate you, brother, and we got to figure that out. I want you back on again, man. This is fascinating, a great show.
I'm very glad you got me on your show, man. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, and we'll have to get together and just talk on the phone one day, just me and you, and discuss some things, because oh my gosh, there's you know, I've just barely scratched the surface on the things that I've seen,
we're
you know, I've gone over so many hundreds and hundreds of pictures that people have sent me, several videos. I've gone over videos on a live call with Bob. We went over my Dogman video. We spent 5 hours going over it. I don't know how many frames per second he broke it down to, but there was a lot more in that video, that little short 7-second video, than just Bigfoot and Dogman.
Yep, absolutely. And again, man, I love this. I love this conversation. The people in chat did. I know Chris did it. And I know Chris was disappointed, because I know she's got questions in her head. But hey, you know what? We're gonna get you back next time.
For sure.
And if I gotta send you $100 to fix up that internet, I'm gonna have to, because I tell you what, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm behind time because I have to change this thing on my ma. This ice machine. She broke her ankle. Long story short, I'm running behind on that because this got to be done every 3 hours or so. Barry Brown, fantastic.
Tell Krista, you know, if she can friend me on Messenger, and I'll talk to her anytime, you know, and because I'm sure she's got a lot of questions.
She does.
My brain with.
I know. I could tell she's a little disappointed.
Call me anytime. You know, I'm pretty free most of the time.
I know Kristen. I could tell she's just a tad bit disappointed, because Chris has got great questions, and she's pretty knowledgeable herself. But Barry, with that, everybody in chat, this was a fantastic show. I hate to cut it all short, because I could talk for 2 more hours. Even with the phone in my hand, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed you, Barry. Thank you once again for this great super chats and for joining us. And Krista, you're beyond tonight, 9 o'clock. Go check her out. Subscribe to the Blondes Booze Paranormal Podcast. Thanks for joining us tonight on Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan, Robin Browning, and Barry Brown. I got to roll. I love each and every single one of you. And for Barry and for Krista, we're out.
See y'all.